Hey everyone, welcome back to Garage Story. So this is part 2 in a series of fixing up this Toro SS4200 Timecutter. In part 1, we purchased this mower for the astoundingly low rate of $250, if I remember correctly, and we determined that it had a non-disclosed issue. Let me say it wasn't mentioned in the ad. I noticed it when I was there. I had every opportunity to back out if I wanted to, but I went ahead and moved forward with it because I still thought it was a really good deal. And that issue was we were leaking oil onto our muffler. I thought that issue was probably just a valve cover gasket. We brought it home, we washed it up, and we went ahead and replaced the head gasket as well. Put it all back together, and then we found an issue. We were pushing air out of the top of the valve cover gasket. So the gasket was not on there properly or got damaged. Something got messed up on installation. So that means in this video, we need to replace that valve cover with a new valve cover and gasket. And we also need to get on with our list of other issues with the mower, most notably replacing the battery and fixing the seat, because the seat needs to be glued together. In the first video, we also aired up the front tires and they seem to be holding air, so hopefully if they maintain holding air throughout this video, we should be good to sell it. My goal is to sell this mower by the end of this video. We'll see how it goes. Let's go make a story, let's go break a wrench. All right, well, we have been patient and we got our parts. Got a new valve cover and another gasket, so that's good. This valve cover does have the stamping facing the opposite way, as another person I've seen online mentioned, but that's not the fix with the new valve cover. I mean, that helps with the fact that the old one was bent, but this part right here is what should help it not get bent, and I guess more than anything it should help it seal better. So this is a reinforcement bracket that fits kind of right there. Well, fits more like that. I need to go ahead and get that thrown on here. Am I going to use the Honda Bond again? I don't think so. I'm going to see how well it comes off, but with the new valve cover, new gasket, the stiffener, I think if I tighten everything to the proper torque, we should be just fine without having to put any sealant and messy stuff on there. That's what I'm thinking. I forgot to mention, while we were patiently waiting for the new parts to come in, we also picked up a new battery, so that's good. I'll throw it on the charger and let it charge up while we're getting this worked on. The only thing holding it on there now is the Honda Bond, which is actually holding it on there pretty good. If it wasn't for that pulsing air on the top there, I would have just run this thing since it wasn't leaking oil anymore. However, since I messed that up there and I know the valve cover itself is bent, I want to go ahead and take it off. There was my issue right there. That was down too far, it needed to be up here. And I don't know if it has to do with how it was torqued out and squished the gasket down, but yeah, that was not sealing right there. You can see that gap in there. There is a clean spot there on the head. You can see right there, the Honda Bond was not messed with. So that gasket was just below there, so air was pulsing out. Now we need to go ahead and try to clean this thing off again. I don't think it'll be too bad. Do what we can. Alright, I took apart the new valve cover just to make sure that there is that mesh in there, and yeah, I'm going to put this back together and we should be all good to go. Real quick, let's go ahead and open this up and see what instructions come with this kit. That's interesting. Not sure how this is going to work here. Here's the bracket. You can see it goes into this hole, and this hole, and we have these two other spare holes on here. So if I put it up in line there, I am right over top of this bolt right here. I don't think that's gonna fly. So either I don't use this stiffener, which is kind of the point of the whole kit, or I have to figure out what to do about this bracket there. Let's back that bolt out and see what things look like. Yeah, that hole is like right in there. Kohler, what were you thinking? Is there enough material in there for me to drill a hole? Nothing ever goes like you expect it to, it seems like. I don't know. Does it go better for people that do this every day? Do things go the way they expect? They know all the pitfalls and they don't fall into the pits like I do. Okay, so I'm kind of doing a test run dry fit here. Looking at it, I feel like I can just notch the side here. Like the hole should be like right about there. This would be much easier with like a drill press, I guess, if I wanted to actually drill a hole. But then again, I'm not going to get lined up exactly anyway, so I'm probably just going to have to do a little bit of a notch right there and grind off the back side. I don't know why that sticks out the way it does on that hole down here. So you grind off the back side of that hole and make a notch in there. So I'll probably need to mark that. And then we should be good to go. Kind of wish I'd used the big grinder. Probably could just ground that all out. Let's go see how it fits. That's in there nice and loose. That puppy is way too short now. Oh, you know what? I think I need to put this bolt on first and then see if the bracket will fit over the top. That's what I'll do. I need to grind deeper. All right, I think we got a fitment that will be good enough. Definitely took out some material there, but hey, you know what? Hopefully it's better than nothing. At least it'll help clamp down this portion from here over to here. So I don't know if I did this wrong last time or if I'm just not remembering, but it says 95 inch-pounds into new holes, 65 inch-pounds into used holes, which these are used. That comes up to just under 5.5 foot-pounds of torque, because you divide by 12. 95 inch-pounds would be 7.8 or something like that. That is really, really low. I can't remember if I went with the 7 pounds last time, the 95 inch-pounds instead of the 65 inch-pounds. And maybe I over-torqued things. Maybe that was part of my issue. Destroying that gasket. But like my torque wrench starts at like 5 pounds, so I'm just going to like 5.5, and we'll see how this goes. Could be interesting, but it is what it is. Double check the torque sequence. In fact, maybe we'll set that right up here. All of them torqued down. Sweet. Where'd my breather tube go? I'm not gonna mess with trying to torque those any further. Last time I went a little more, and that could have come back to bite me, I'm not sure. We're just gonna leave well enough alone, go with the instructions in this new kit, and hope that everything works out good. I kind of think it will. So I totally lost that breather tube and I cannot find it. I have no idea where it is. I've looked everywhere I thought it would be, but did it go flying to the stratosphere? I checked my tool bag, I checked on the mower, checked my pockets. I'm like, I don't know where that thing is. Where did that silly hose go? So the next thing I want to do on this mower is get this seat glued down. Supposedly this stuff will work. Hopefully it does. Apparently it needs to dry for like 24 hours, but it holds pretty quickly in like 30 minutes. So I'm gonna need some clamps and boards. So I need to clean off all the old glue that will come off. But looking at it, it looks like that's the only part that was glued originally. It was just around the edges. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, but can't hurt to try. I'm trying to make sure I have enough items here that I can actually clamp the seat down with once we glue it. I think I might be able to make things work with the ratchet straps to kind of stand in for clamps. I think I'm going to go ahead and actually remove the seat, which is really easy. All right, I think I found a way to clamp the seat down to the base using a lot of ratchet tie downs and boards to help kind of protect the seat, and a clamp there. I think it works a little better to get it up closer to the top. Yeah, get a pretty tight gap around there. However, I'm not quite sure about is how I'm going to get the glue on there and then get everything strapped down. I'm thinking about doing is kind of just basically loosening one strap or so at a time, putting the glue under there and then tightening it down. It says within 10 minutes press surfaces together, so you have a little bit of time. And it says hold for 20 to 60 seconds. So basically, I guess once you've held it for that amount of time, it's already starting to hang on. Holds in 30 seconds, so fast grab. Then it takes 24 hours to fully cure. So not quite sure, never really worked with this. Don't want to make a huge mess, but at the end of the day, the seat foam was disattached. So I'm probably not going to make it a lot worse. We could always go with a seat cover. I think I need to go ahead and get out the caulk gun and get this glue on there. I just need to find my caulk gun. Here it doesn't look that bad. It's pretty good along the front. The things start getting ugly, it's right around that corner. And this stuff is pretty thick. And this is the worst side here, I think. Nice big fat bead there. I don't know what color the stuff dries. I guess I should read that. Yeah, we'll see what color it dries to. Maybe yellow, clear, I don't know. I may need to trim off some stuff with a knife. It's so thick and gooey. It's not quite as easy to wipe off as caulk. I think we're just gonna have to roll with this and see what it looks like when it dries up. We'll see how this goes. My first time really trying to do this seriously like this. I'm actually pretty pleased. I think it might work well. All right, so it's a couple days later now, 2 or 3 days later now, and let's take a look and see what the seat looks like. So first thing of note is that the construction adhesive stays the same color. So if it's sticking out, it's gonna be sticking out, by golly. So front part here looks pretty good. I guess we're ready for the moment of truth now where we unclamp everything. That actually does not look too bad for the seat as far as being compressed. Apparently a heat gun will remove all these creases and stuff, so we may try that here in a little bit, but let's look at this first. So I think my best bet is going to be just to try to trim off the excess. At the end of the day, I can't be overly concerned about this. I mean, it's not that pretty, but the seat's attached well, and from a distance it's not going to look that bad, except for, I don't know, it's white. It's going to stand out. I don't know. All in all, it's pretty well attached. We've trimmed up a lot of that excess glue from around the sides there. You can still see some there. I don't think it's as noticeable as it was before. I tried to clean off the plastics here. All that said, I think the seat looks pretty good. Yeah, it's actually already rebounded pretty quickly from those boards being on there. But really, I think the seat just needs a good scrub off, and we're probably gonna be ready to get this mower listed for sale here pretty quickly. All right, so we've got the seat in a pretty good place. Now, all that's left, I believe, is to replace the battery, put this cover back on, make a new breather tube since I don't know what happened to the other one. It just kind of vaporized somewhere. Maybe it'll turn up while we're putting things back together. So I really have those two things, and also I'm probably gonna trim off this plug because that looks nasty. But the front tires are still holding air after several days, so we may not really need to replace them or do anything there. I think we're getting really close. Looks like we have a bolt with no head. Is there no slot or anything in there? Wow, ain't nothing on there. battery is hooked up, and now I'm going to cut a new breather hose from my new hose spool here that's almost out. There should be plenty for that. And we're gonna put the engine shroud back on and put the seat on. And I'm gonna time lapse it all. It's not that important. And we're gonna try to put the shrouds back on the engine here. And then when I'm all done, my breather hose will probably show up. It's probably just the way it's gonna work. That's okay. Well, all right, we've got everything back together as far as I can tell, and I think it's time for a test fire up. I cut this hose a little long. If it bothers me, I can cut it shorter, but it's hard to stretch that hose out, so we went long. This would be the first start on the new battery. I think we've got fuel in here. Let's give it full choke. That had to happen. All right, this is the hose I was missing all that time. Yes, once we start up everything, it shows up. So what happened, it fell inside this frame rail. So it was like sitting down in there somewhere. I don't know if you can even see that. It's like it couldn't be far, but I thought I looked everywhere on the mower. Oh well. I may as well go ahead and swap it in there. All right, well, I think it's time to take the mower outside and do some testing with it. Might cut some grass. I think this mower is fixed. It seems to run great. I really enjoy mowing with it. If this was the only mower I had here, if I sold everything else and kept this, I think I'd be okay here. This isn't the widest mower, but it just works pretty well. The steering's a little bit sensitive, but not too bad. It is only a 42-inch cut, but you can do quite a bit with a 42-inch cut because it is a zero turn and it's pretty quick. So it can really cover a lot of ground fairly quickly, especially if you have good blades. But yeah, I think we got this mower fixed, so let's see if we can just wash it off a little bit and get it listed for sale. I know a lot of people talk poorly of these engines, but I think they have a lot of power, and when running well, are a great engine. I think this large single cylinder just has a lot of torque, and I would argue it may, well, I don't know what the numbers say, but I think it kind of feels like it has more torque than a Briggs & Stratton single cylinder engine. When the going gets tough, it just keeps chugging through. I really like the performance of these engines. Reliability apparently can be an issue on these engines, but I've never had one go bad on me while using it. This one here arguably had the oil leak and bad head gasket, but it still ran good, and it's running good after we've replaced the head gasket. I don't think there's any leakage happening here. Yep, we look nice and dry. Let's check for vapor in here. I don't know, I think the vapor that we see in there, because I do see a teeny bit, I think it's actually just vaporized oil molecules floating around. I kind of think the head gasket wasn't really bad, but I learned something. It wasn't that long to do, and now I know. And now we know that it has a new head gasket. All right, so quick update on the Toro. I think I may have this thing sold before I get it washed off, unless I go and wash it right now, which I've got a lot going on, so I may not wash it right now. Today may actually be the closeout for this video. We shall see. I'm really excited about that. I'm very hopeful. So we listed it yesterday, which was Friday night. This is Saturday. I think someone's coming. We shall see how it goes. I had it listed at $1,800. This person has offered me $1,500, which I would be happy to take at this point. But this thing may be sold. The mower is not 100% perfect, but it's really solid. I think the new owner is gonna be quite happy with it. I know I should have washed it again. It's okay, it's okay. Okay, I think they are about here, so we'll see how this goes.
So do you work on mowers for people, or is it just a hobby?
It's a hobby. I have a regular job. The problem with working on mowers for people is that they want things done quickly, and I don't always have time. I can't do that.
Right.
All right, well, they bought it. So we just sold the Toro Timecutter SS4200 for $1,500, which is fantastic. I was really happy to get that. It was only for sale for, I don't know, it was less than a day. It was maybe 18 hours. So let's go over the numbers real quick. I purchased this mower for $1,500. I'd be wrong there. I purchased this mower for $250. I bought a gasket and the Honda Bond at a dealership nearby for roughly, I'm gonna say $20 to $30. Gasket plus Honda. Then I purchased a head gasket kit because we decided we needed to use a new head gasket. That was roughly $30. I bought that online. Then we purchased a valve cover kit, which was a little bit more. I think that was more like $40. We also purchased a battery, which was $35 plus some tax. It's gonna be around $40. We also had purchased some glue for gluing the seat down, which I will probably use for other projects. That glue was roughly $10. So this is our overall total cost for this mower. I did not change the oil. The oil looked really good, so I didn't change the oil or filter. Didn't change the blades or belts. So this is a fairly good explanation of what we spent money on for this mower. So let's go ahead and add all this up and see what our total cost was. 140, 150. So 150 plus 250, that's $400. So that's what we are into this mower for, $400. We sold it for $1,500, and we are left with $1,100 of profit. That's the important number right there. We made $1,100 on that mower, and we had it for, I'm gonna say, a couple months. I learned some things on there. There's nothing super major wrong with it. It turned out. We made a really good profit on there. I did spend more time on it than I guess I would have had to have spent if I'd known more about what I was doing, but I learned. So all in all, it really wasn't that bad. Even though I was learning, I still didn't spend that much time on it. But I'd never done a head gasket on a lawnmower before like that. I'd never done a valve cover of that nature. I've done valve cover gaskets before, but just not one like that. And I've never glued a seat on like that before. So I can't really complain. I would, if I had to say how much time I put into it, I'm not really sure, because I work on bits and pieces over a period of time. I do a lot of thinking about it, but I would say there's, 2 days of solid work on that mower. If it was 2 days, then you're looking at, $550 per day for 2 days. That's not too bad. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video and hanging with us for a 2-part series on this mower. But if you enjoyed this video, obviously you could go back and check out part 1 if you haven't already seen that, but we have lots of other Toro content from years past, other mowers very similar to this one. But as always, everyone, stay safe out there, but go break a wrench and let's keep making stories, and we will catch you on the next one.